Hi, my name is Sarita. I have a blog called Black Coffee in the City. I'm currently living in Berlin. If you haven't seen my previous videos, I moved here from the United States about a year and a half ago, a little bit longer. So I've been recording videos and writing blogs on my website, blackcoffeeinthecity.wordpress.com, about my experiences living abroad, traveling abroad, and being a Black woman. So I want to thank the people who have subscribed to my channel. You actually are motivating me to post new videos. I apologize for being neglectful. I aim to post a video at least once a month, but unfortunately, I'm not very good at that, so I'm going to start posting more. If you subscribe, you may be interested in what I have to say in my videos. I always like to say I'm not an expert. I can only speak on my own personal experience. So if you have contradicting views or different experiences, feel free to comment or write to me. I would love to integrate that into my worldview and hopefully future content. So today, my video is going to be about being Black in bars in Berlin. I love alliteration, so we'll go with the B's for today. Um, I recently got my hair done, new braids, by a Black woman from London. And we just started talking about the social life here in Berlin. She's lived here also about a year and a half. And she told me a story about her night at Sisyphus. So Sisyphus is this really notorious nightclub in Berlin. It's very hippie, a lot of outdoor space. It's a nice place for people to go during warm weather days if they want to party all weekend or party on Saturday nights. So she told me that she went with a group of people, and there was a couple, a white couple, who were trying to get past her at some space in the bar, and they got really aggressive. I guess she wasn't moving out of the way quick enough or to their liking. And eventually they got into an altercation and they called her the N-word. I won't use it here, but I guess you can gather what that means. And she got really aggressive with them because they were pushing her and calling her derogatory names. She ended up grabbing the man and pushing him away from her. And then he went to security and said, "This Black woman is attacking us," and security kicked her out. So that's her experience. I wasn't there, so I can't verify all of the details. You know, sometimes when we're in the heat of the moment, we may see things differently. And this was actually yesterday. She told me the story. Fast forward to 7 p.m. that evening. I go out with a group of friends. Generally, I'm the only Black person in the group. I would love to have a closer group of Black female friends. When I lived in the US, all of my friends were Black. Not for any particular reason, but we just really connected and shared a lot of the same views and interest. But here, I have friends from Ireland, I have some friends from the US, I have some German friends, or also from Mexico. So it's a pretty diverse group of friends that I have here, but generally I'm the only Black person in the group. So we went to a restaurant for Cinco de Mayo. So I guess you can gather that today is now May 6th. And we ordered food. You know, it was a bit of a stressful process getting a table, but there was 9 or 10 of us, so that's to be expected. And we left and we wanted to go continue the night at another bar across the street. Now, this bar is called Cafe Lucia. Sometimes it's just Lucia on social media or on Google Maps. It's Luzia, just in case you want to look it up. And I've been to this bar numerous times. The interior is really nice. It's got exposed brick. It's got a nice contrast of new and old. You know, the walls may look a little old, but the furniture is pretty new. The bar is really nice. The only problem at this bar is the staff. So the staff is notoriously rude. You can look up their reviews online. You'll get some people who say, "Oh, super cool bar, love the vibe. I feel like they are maybe paying these people." And it's not that I've never had a good experience, obviously, because I wouldn't keep going back, but the staff behind the bar is extremely rude to guests, paying guests, not guests coming in, giving them problems, giving them issues, just people who want to order drinks. I've seen it firsthand, I've experienced it firsthand, but last night they took their rudeness to a new level. So again, it was still a large group of us, about 10 people. We walk into the bar and there are flowers sitting sort of on the bar top directly next to where my friend was sitting. So she moved the flower closer to her. It's just a little vase of flowers. She wasn't taking it. She just wanted to move it closer to her because it looked really pretty. And a woman came over, didn't say anything, and just takes the flowers and puts them back where they were. And it was just kind of passive aggressive, or like, whatever. So one of my friends saw this and was like, I don't want to spend any money at this bar. They're obviously extremely rude. But the rest of us are like, no, let's just get one drink and then we can decide to go somewhere else. So we all order, not from this blonde woman because she refuses to make eye contact with us or take our order. Another guy comes over, takes our order. We all have drinks. Everything's going really well. We start joking and laughing. And my friend is telling a story about Berlin dance moves, sort of making fun of the very stiff, sort of standard techno hand wave. And we start to laugh. And the same blonde woman from earlier in the night comes over, tells us to keep it down. Now, granted, this is a Saturday night. There's a DJ playing techno music, and the bar is extremely loud. But she only comes over to our group and tells us to be quiet. And I found this very strange because I've never been told to be quiet in an extremely loud bar on a weekend night. And there were two people sitting next to us at the bar, and we asked them, are we being too loud? And they said, no, you guys are fine. So obviously this woman just had an issue with us and made us feel uncomfortable to the point where we wanted to leave. So some people were still drinking their beers, not in a bar glass, but in a bottled beer that you can get at any grocery store or Spady in Berlin. And we walk outside, and one of the security guards comes chasing after a group of people who exited in front of us. And there's a very small, petite, blonde girl who is holding a bottle of beer, and he's yelling at her to give him the bottle back. And so I go up to him because I just feel like his behavior is very aggressive, especially since he's this large man towering over this small woman. There were guys with us, there were other women, but he decided to pick on the smallest girl. And I asked him, like, why are you being so aggressive? He's like, well, you can't take these bottles out of the bar. If you want to take your drinks to go, you need to ask for a cup from the bartender. And I've never heard this before. So I've been living in Berlin for a year and a half. Sometimes there are bars here that have fans. So if you pay 50 cents or euro, you have to exchange a little token for the bottle or the glass that you got from the bartender. And that's pretty common, especially on weekends. People leave glasses everywhere. Things get broken. So it's sort of an incentive for you to come back, bring your bottle or glass to the bar, and then you get your 50 cents or your euro back that you paid at the beginning of the night. This is not the case at Cafe Lucia. At least it's not at the time of this video. If you buy a bottle from a bar, you're paying at least 3 times as much as you would if you go to a Spady or a grocery store. So let's say this bottle of beer at a grocery store is 80 cents. You're paying 3 euros at a bar to buy the same bottle of beer. So you're paying more than enough to take this bottle with you. I've taken bottles out of bars, and so have my friends, and we've never had anyone chase after us saying we can't leave with a bottle that we purchased. So I didn't understand why this man was chasing after us, telling us we had to leave these bottles. So I take the bottle from the girl, and I ask him, I'm like, why are you acting like this? And he says, well, you can't leave these bottles on the street. Also, another fun fact about Berlin, and not sure about other places in Germany, but if you are finished drinking a bottle of beer or maybe a club mate or any sort of glass bottle that you can get money back, you can leave it on the street. Someone will come around. They spend their nights or days going through public spaces picking up these bottles, and they can take them back to get fans. So for a bottle of beer, you get 8 cents for every bottle, and other bottles or cups or glasses have different prices, but the bottle that we had, it was 8 cents. So I figured that this man was yelling at us because he wanted this 8 cents to go towards this bar, even though we paid 3 euro for an 80-cent bottle of beer. So anyway, he and I are exchanging words, and I'm not being rude with him. And then I guess he just got annoyed with me asking him questions, and he called me a black bitch. Okay, fine. Maybe I'm being bitchy. Maybe you don't like the fact that I'm confronting you about your behavior, and you call me a bitch. That's fine. I can be bitchy sometimes. But to add black to me was an extreme, and I really didn't appreciate it. And I don't think anyone else really heard it because he was looking directly into my eyes. And he said it sort of at a normal pace because previously he was screaming, and he looked at me and he said, "You black bitch." So then my friends are like, throw the bottle. Ideally, the bottle would have broken and this all would have been a moot point, but it didn't. And he went and picked it up, and I basically told him to fill in the blank. I'll try not to curse on this in these videos because I don't want that to be on my YouTube channel, but you can gather what I said to this man. So at first I'm like, okay, whatever, you get into this screaming match with the security guard. But I think the problem with me was that he had to bring my race into a insult, and it sort of ruined the rest of my night. My friends and I went to another bar, and I just felt really gross inside. And usually I try and paint Berlin in a really positive light because I enjoy living here. I think that it's a great place. Generally, I don't feel uncomfortable being Black in the city, but then I just started to like reconsider everything. Why do I live here if Black people go into these public spaces as paying customers? Maybe you pay an entrance fee or you pay to purchase a product from this place, and they treat you really poorly. In the United States, customer service has a totally different meaning than it does in Berlin. You know, you hear the customer's always right. And I've actually worked in hospitality for a total of 7 years of my life. And I would never even think to call a customer to their face a Black bitch. Neither would the security that was working at the bar that I worked at. So it's really something to reconsider when I go out to places and I want to bring my friends or I want to go by myself and spend money. I really need to think about where I'm putting my money at in Berlin, because there are plenty of nice bars where I'm sure that their staff would never call you anything like that. I reached out to some girls in a Black woman in Berlin group. It's a small group on Facebook. And I just wanted to get their opinion because maybe my other friends won't necessarily understand if I say to them, like, this bar staff called me a Black bitch. They would think, oh, that's horrible. But I think as a Black person, maybe it hits you a bit differently, especially not being from this country and being surrounded by people that don't look like you. It just hits you a bit harder. Not to say that this wouldn't happen in the US. I've been called all kinds of names, but I think living in this country and just sort of having this really positive view of the city, that stung a lot. So they gave me some recommendations for bars, also in Kreuzberg, some in Neukölln, some that I actually had starred and want to go. If you're interested, I can send you these bars if you're living in Berlin. I think it's a good idea to sort of get an experience for someone who's visited and who's been a regular of these bars. Because, I mean, some people can go back to this bar and say, hey, that was your experience. I'm not going to stop going there. But there's just so many bars in Berlin where I feel like they deserve my money, at least in my personal opinion, more. If I'm going to be treated poorly, I'm definitely not going to spend money. And that's with anything, with any business. If you have a bad experience, generally you don't keep going back to have more bad experiences. So again, this is my experience and the experience of the woman that I spoke with earlier in the day. This doesn't mean that everyone is going to have the same experience when they go to bars in Berlin, but I really just felt like I needed to share this story. I've also posted this on the bar's social media and Google reviews just so other people are aware. But again, hopefully you guys have a better experience if you have visited this bar or you do decide to go to this bar in any city. I really feel like you should be welcomed. Doesn't have to be overly friendly, but you should feel like you're in a comfortable, safe space, especially if you're going there to spend money. So I would love to hear your thoughts. Again, I'm going to try and post videos on different topics. My next video will actually be about why it took me so long to post a new video about my visa situation. It was very difficult for me to get a visa. Again, my personal experience. And over the last year, it's been a lot of ups and downs, but I feel like I'm finally on the up. So I'll share more about that in my next video. And thanks for watching.